No two kids grow exactly the same way, but when it's your child that seems to be missing key milestones, it can be hard to know what's okay and what's not. Maybe they're not saying as many words as other kids their age, or they don't seem interested in playing with others. And that question pops into your mind, is this normal? If you've been there, you're not alone. So many parents quietly ask these questions to themselves every day. So together, let's take a closer, gentle look at what development really looks like and when it might be time to look a little deeper. Hi, I'm Dr. Andrea Loeffert, a pediatrician with As You Are. So let's walk through what typical development can look like, starting at 18 months all the way up through 5 years old. At each stage, we'll highlight what many children are doing, and then also gently point out some signs that might mean it's time to take a closer look. We'll call those signs red flags. Now, that's not meant to be scary or to say that there's a problem. It just means this could be something worth asking about. At 18 months, many children are saying a few words like mama or bye-bye. They're pointing at something interesting to show you. They're walking on their own, and they're handing you toys to share with you or to get your attention. But you might want to check in if you notice that your child isn't responding consistently when you call their name. They're not pointing or waving or reaching out to you. They haven't started using any words yet, or they aren't walking yet. Or when they do move, they seem very stiff or floppy. Now let's move on to 2 years old. By 2 years old, many kids are using 2-word phrases. More juice. All done. They can follow simple directions. They begin to play pretend, such as feeding a baby doll. And they're starting to show interest in other children. Red flags to look out for in a 2-year-old might be that they are not using any 2-word phrases. They don't copy your actions or repeat words after you say them. And they may seem uninterested in people or toys or even the environment around them. Or you may notice that they've stopped doing certain things that they used to do, like say certain words or use certain gestures like pointing or waving. Now let's move on to the 3-year-olds. Many 3-year-olds are having short back and forth conversation with you. They're playing with other children, whether side by side or with one another. They're running, climbing, going upstairs, and they can answer simple questions like what or where. But you might want to talk to someone if you notice that your child uses very few words or they're very hard to understand when they speak. If they're not showing interest in playing with other children, and if they aren't able to climb stairs or move easily, or if you notice that they seem withdrawn from other people or disconnected from the people around them. By age 4, many children are telling stories and able to talk to you about their day. They like to play in groups or play pretend with others. They're starting to understand basic concepts like things that are the same or different. They can draw simple shapes and they can hold a scissors. Some signs to look out for at this stage, however, might be struggling to follow instructions, speech that's still difficult for people outside of the family to understand, and avoiding group play or having trouble joining in with other people's play, or if they have ongoing issues with balance or their fine motor skills. At 5 years old, many children are speaking clearly in full sentences. They can follow multiple step instructions, and they can understand basic rules and routines. They can skip, hop, and balance on one foot. The red flags to look out for in this age group could be having a hard time telling a simple story, not showing a variety of emotions when they speak or interact, struggling to connect with their peers, or seeming very anxious or confused in new settings. Now remember, these red flags don't mean that something is wrong. They're just signals to tell you that it may be helpful to talk with a professional if you're noticing these red flags. Someone who can guide you toward the right kind of support. And if this has helped you feel a little more seen or understood, we'd love if you could give this video a like. It helps more parents find this kind of content and to know that they are not alone. It's important to remember that development doesn't follow one perfect path. Some children are early talkers. Others take their time and then overnight seem to be talking in full sentences. Some kids love running into a room full of people, where others are quiet, prefer to play solo at first, and need a little more time to warm up. This doesn't automatically mean that there's a problem. Differences are a natural part of how children grow. But if you've been noticing ongoing patterns, like delayed language, fewer gestures, or a child who seems disconnected from others, it's okay to pause and be curious. As a parent or caregiver, you know your child best. And if something feels off, or even just unclear, that feeling matters. Sometimes it's not about a big, obvious concern. It's more like a quiet, persistent question in your mind. And that question deserves attention. Not because it means there's a problem, but because noticing is the first step behind supporting your child in the best way possible and getting answers for you. We'll talk more about what support can look like in just a moment, but first, let's look at how to know when it might be time to explore further. One of the most helpful ways to start understanding your child's growth is by understanding the term developmental milestones. Now that might sound like a big term, but really it just means what most children are doing at a certain age. Things like talking, walking, playing with others, or communicating their needs to you. Milestones can help us notice how children are growing and learning in areas like language, social skills, movement, and problem solving. But here's something really important to remember from the start. Every child develops at their own pace. Some children walk earlier, so then they talk later. Some love to be around people, whereas others would rather be more quiet and observe. There's a wide range of what's typical, and that range is completely normal. So these milestones aren't meant to make anyone feel behind or compare kids to one another. They're simply guideposts, helpful signs that show how a child is doing and when it might be time to check in. You might recognize some of these signs in your own child. That's okay. This is a safe space to learn, to reflect, and to feel supported. If something stands out or resonates with you, feel free to share your thoughts in our comments. Sometimes just knowing someone else is out there that relates to you can make a big difference. So what happens if you notice some red flags, or an evaluation confirms that your child does need some extra support? First, take a deep breath. You are not alone, and you're not behind. You're doing exactly what your child needs just by paying attention. And support doesn't always mean major changes. Sometimes it's simple tools and strategies that help your child communicate, play, and learn more comfortably. That support might come through speech therapy, play-based therapy, changes in daily routine that make things feel a little smoother for your child. And the good news, you don't have to wait months or travel miles to get started. Families today can begin this journey from the comfort of their home with trusted professionals who listen to your concerns, who understand your child, and who help guide your next steps with care. At As You Are, we're proud to offer autism evaluations for children between 18 months and 10 years old, all done virtually, so you can get clarity without leaving your home and without the long wait. We can also provide re-evaluations for children 11 years of age up to 18 years of age. And if you're looking for more guidance, check out our latest video, What is Autism Spectrum Disorder? And subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss out on the next video.